So far, so good.
Okay, now it is just going live. Yes.
Now, any second now, yeah. We are live.
Hello and welcome to Moreness-Culture. Good morning, Syl.
Good morning. Good morning, Moreness. You are a Moreness, Beena. You are a Moreness.
Yes,
So
we
good
all are.
morning, Moreness. Yeah,
Yes, we all
exactly.
are.
We all are. Exactly. You
How
know,
are you?
when I say to you, Moreness, I'm not isolating you. You're right. I'm well,
Yes.
Beena. Well. I didn't sleep fantastically, but I did get enough, and I'm very, very happy to be back. I've been missing the lives. You know, we didn't do
Oh,
for
yes.
3 days just because of
Yes.
stuff, and yeah, it's just how it goes. You know, we don't have to do them every day. I like to, except Saturdays. Saturdays we do other stuff on Saturdays, but you know, it does matter to me, and I enjoy doing them. You know, it's not because we're looking to get views. We do it for our own wonderful reasons and purposes, right? And
Oh,
moreness
yes. Oh, yes.
reasons. We in the beginning we went over this many times. Go back to the early ones and see, but we
It's
do it
okay.
for
It
our
is
own
just
reasons.
part of life, and this is how we
Exactly.
manage things. This is what actually living with attunement is.
Exactly.
Because just a
Exactly.
foundation, not of course entirely, but just the initial steps towards living with attunement is to understand the circumstances and don't try to push yourself extraordinary or like unnecessary. Yes, okay, if it is needed, yes. If it is really crucial, oh yes, why not? We'll do our best, and we can push ourselves. But if it is not, don't stress yourself. Things happen, and this is how life is, and this is what nature is, and it's a big lesson. Once we start doing this, this is just actually train our mind to not be in ego mindset that I can do everything and I am able to do everything and I'm going to do everything. This is the ego mindset. Yes, of course I can. This is what in other words, this is the philosophy of that. Yes, I am more, I am enough, and I'm also more. To be precise. So yes, we can push ourselves, but we don't. If it is really necessary, yes. If not, don't push yourself. Don't try to control everything. And this is the just beginning of living with attunement. Is of course further it goes into different stages, different perspectives, and different aspects of life. And of course, the consequences, the outcomes are much bigger. Of course, right now in this initial stage, perks of living with attunement, like in this type of situation, daily, mundane, less stress, energy efficient. Of course, it is less stress and you are not, it is less energy consuming. You feel more relaxed. This is just the basic perks of living with attunement in mundane life in these type of situation for me. Anyway, we are back and I'm trying to get my
Yes.
energy back because I was not feeling well for last few
No.
days. And my understanding is that whenever I go out and attend gatherings, large group of people, I interact with them every single time. I get like, okay, now for a
Yeah.
week
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah.
And
You
it is
pick
like,
up
okay,
stuff.
it is a
Pick up
pattern.
stuff.
You can ignore things in situation, incidents, but you cannot ignore patterns because
Never.
patterns are for your learning. And I
Exactly.
learned that today. I was sharing with my cousin. She is leaving Pakistan and going back to Saudi where she lives. And I said, okay, it's a pattern now. And I feel that I'm going to pay more attention to that. That every single time when I go out in large gatherings, because in Pakistan we have the social setup that people do invite close family, friends, and relatives for dinner, for lunch, and for religious gathering, for wedding gatherings, pre-wedding gatherings also. And that type of gathering, I was there, and 1 week completely done. Why? So she
Oh,
says, oh, because your immune system is not strong. I said, no, it is not about my physical immune system. It is
yeah.
about
It's an
energy.
emotional immune system.
Because I
Spiritual,
know
psychological.
that I can feel a lot of people's energy
Yes.
and
Yes.
also attention. Once, I'm not saying this because it is happening to me and oh, I'm something, I'm trying to be something. No, I'm just sharing my observation about someone who is trying to be impeccable. Once you start doing things, putting your effort into they just try to be impeccable. I'm not there yet, I'm just trying my best. I'm in the process. And once you do that, once you start doing that, people immediately notice the difference. They
Yeah.
understand that emotionally, energetically, they understand that you are different. And by different, it means that this is something new. And subconsciously, they try to get this energy from you. And this is, so far, my understanding, this is what happened with me and continuously happening with me. It is not that they are, oh, energy vampires. No, they are not. Or they are deliberately doing something negative. No, it is something, it's a nature. It's a nature of humankind, humanity. Okay, I know what humanity, yes, human beings. This is a nature. This is part of our nature. We do try to connect with energy, especially good things. By nature, we are good people. We want to attach and connect and interact with good energy. And,
Ah, exactly,
and
Beena.
because
Exactly.
I am not strong enough yet, that's why I do feel drained.
Yes. Yes. You know, it's
So
part of the
my
path of
weakness right now.
awareness.
Yes,
Right? The more aware you become, the more you notice other people, and the more you notice what they up to. And in that noticing and being aware of it, you also have energy entanglement. And it's just part of the
exactly.
path of awareness. So we have to learn to untangle, we have to learn to shield, we have to learn to
Exactly.
perceive without becoming immersed. It's a skill
Exactly.
that has to be learned like anything else. And it's just part of the learning, right? And so part
Exactly.
of the path of awareness is becoming aware of all the nonsense in the world. You can't let that depress you. The nonsense is emphasized. The nonsense is a small part. The majority of people are good, right? You
Yes.
look at criminals. Look at the actual percentage of people who are criminals. It's like less than
Okay.
1%
Again,
or something. Yeah.
again, just want to make it clear. I am again saying that okay, they are not doing this thing negatively with negative intent. No, they are good
No.
people, positive people,
Exactly.
but they want to connect. And
Exactly.
that push and pull
Exactly.
makes me like, oh my God, I'm done.
Exactly.
For a week, I will have
Exactly.
something and okay. Just
Yeah.
a minute, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. No problem. So this point about energy awareness, this is going to be a theme, and it is in our reading here. It's a theme with Don Juan, right? And he talks about this a lot in the later books. If we pay attention early on, we can likewise see that what Don Juan does always is always in the context of being energetically appropriate. Always, right? Not energetically as in having energy to jump about, but in terms of being appropriate when it comes to best use of energy, appropriate usage of energy, not wasting energy. Yes, investing energy rather than spending energy, etc. Now, Don Juan doesn't use this language, but doesn't matter. That's what I'm bringing to it because that just happens to be my skill, elucidation. Right? So we take it a little further, well, maybe a lot further, but still, you know, this point though of energy management is absolutely crucial. And it's a key part of Way-Of-Impeccability, of course, right? Energy management. And the terminology is very important also. Because when you understand energy management, you're not thinking of like, wow, I need to have coffee or Red Bull or whatever. No, or no. It's about what you do with your energy. Yes, it's also Don Juan will talk about it in terms of hunting power. Right? But when we look at this energy management and being really, really precise with your energy, we'll see. Again, I want to pick up where we left off last time. We read a bit of where they start on the datura plant, but the key point where we left off was about the path to path. Now, Listen to what Don Juan says about this. Is just the end of it here, but that's the key part, right? Listen to it through the lens of energy management. Does this path have a heart? If it does, the path is good. If it doesn't, it is of no use. Both paths lead nowhere, but one has a heart, the other doesn't. One makes for a joyful journey. As long as you follow it, you are one of them. The other will make you curse your life. One makes you strong, the other weakens you. Energy management. Yeah? Choosing a path of heart. If you choose a sucky path, all your energy gets drained and everything is sucky, right? When you have high energy, you're happy. When you have low energy, you're depressed. Very simple. Yeah? Very simple. Or sad or miserable, unhappy, irritable, angry, whatever. And that's where anger comes in. Because anger is a way to, to counteract that low energy and pull it back up again. Right? It's much easier to be angry and pull your energy up, because when we're angry, we get quite invigorated, right? Even if you're tired. But if you're really tired and now you want to be joyful and enthusiastic, that's very hard. Yeah. So when we understand anger is sometimes a tool for raising our energy, pay attention. If you're getting angry for no reason, then you're probably tired, right? You don't want to be depressed. So very important. See, all comes down to energy management. Attunement is the ultimate when it comes to energy management. Yeah. Okay. It is incredible, right? This term attunement, Don Juan doesn't use it, but he does it all the time. Yes, and I will stake everything to say that Don Juan would love this term attunement. Yes, and he would use it like he uses impeccability. He would use this term attunement. All right, now we're going to. Carlos is going back into specific details about the power plants. Yeah? And in this case, the Tura or Jimson weed, devil's weed. We aren't interested in the details because they cannot be replicated. No matter how detailed it is, it can't be replicated. What we are going to be paying attention to is things like attunement, energy, Don Juan's attitude, his mindset, how he goes about things, how he does things, which if we are looking at the specifics, we're looking at the abstract so that we can get to know Don Juan. Right? Because, like Beena says, she's preparing to meet Don Juan. Right, Beena?
Yes, sorry,
Okay.
I have to deal with this spell of cough. So sorry.
Oh, no, 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 not a problem at all. All right, so I'm going to read because, Beena
Please,
is,
please.
got that. So I'll be reading. And before I go, something most important to do, most important. Hello, 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 Norma. Norma has joined us, and Norma says, enjoy. And yes, we are going to enjoy. Absolutely, we do. And we're going to enjoy extra much because Norma is here. We love Norma, and we love when Norma comes. Norma's always a joy. And if you don't know Norma, just know Norma's a joy. That's why you're joy. So, yes, we are enjoying because you're here, Norma. It really adds. It really
Oh
adds
yes,
when
hello
you're here.
Norma. Sorry for late response, but I am okay. Anyway, just want to add something here because people who want to learn and grow, or who are on this path of learning and growing, it is really difficult for them to stay protected because their intent is there to be open to receive.
Yeah.
And of course, it has some consequences. You cannot filter out everything. So when you are perceiving the energy and you want to be aware, of course, you have to be open. And once you are open for everything. So yes, it is difficult, but of course, this is what the real joy is.
Yes.
Adventure.
Yes. Also, I want to state we started today on energy management. Yes, that's our theme, and we'll keep that as a nice overview focus. Energy management is another term for impeccability. And when we are talking energy, we are talking about your spiritual energy and your emotional energy, your psychological energy, your physical energy, right? All the different kinds of energies. Yes, and the energy of that Don Juan calls it power. That is, power is energy that you are able to use, applied energy, as it were, but energy that's usable. Yes, like you can have energy, but if you can't harness it, you've got no power. Yeah? Like you see a stream running down. Wow, okay, well, I can see a lot of energy there. Well, doesn't do me any good because I can't use it. It only becomes power when I, put a water wheel in there or whatever, some hydroelectric generator or something, right? So it's harnessing the power that's key. And this is very important to remember. Power is energy that has been harnessed, that's been utilized, been put to use, yes, where you are connected to. So Norma says, good to hear from you, Beena. Wonderful. Thank you, Norma. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so happy Norma's here. It's very cool.
Oh,
Very
yes.
cool.
Thank you, Norma.
All right. Good deal. All right. So now again, we are reading everything through this filter of Moreness-Culture. And what is moreness? Right? Grain, hear me? It's not mourners. That's a very different thing. Moreness-Culture, I don't know if there's such a thing, but I suppose there is. That's all about mourning, like at a funeral, mourning
Oh,
grief,
yes.
mourning loss.
There is. There
No.
is a culture. There is a
Right,
culture
right.
in the
But
world.
but this is not what we're about, Grain. It's moreness. 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 Right? Moreness. And it is a word, Grain. It might not be in your dictionary, but it is a word, right? It's a legitimate word. Any word, any known word, you can add on a suffix and a known prefix. In this case, more plus ness gives you moreness, right? So Moreness-Culture, moreness, right? The quality of more, yeah, like beautifulness, yes, hungriness, right? The quality of, that's what moreness means. So Moreness-Culture is all about optimizing our energy, optimizing not only our energy acquisition, energy usage, but energy investment, not expenditure. Right? It's like your money. You spend money, fine. You have to have it coming in. But of course, if you invest your money, you increase what comes back at you. Yes, you may temporarily have to forego expenditure for investment, but in the longer term, that's better. When it comes to learning, awareness, attention, we can always be invested. Always. Right? And that investiture can be an expenditure at the same time. We can take joy in investing, in other words, right? So it takes the equivalence. We get that reward of expenditure, but in investing, right? That this is the magic of learning. That if you enjoy learning, it is investiture and expenditure both at the same time. It's never wasted, right? You get joy and you get more later, right? That's what the magic of learning is. Moreness-Culture. This is, see, now we're getting moreness. Wow, I'm getting investing and expenditure. That's moreness right there. See, one of the definitions of moreness, right? Getting extra, right? Getting value, getting more. Right? It's very cool. Not more as in a greed sense, but more that you can expect to get. Bonus, magic, in other words, right? To me, magic is just a synonym for bonus, for moreness, right? So magic, okay, there's a lot of baggage, so it's a difficult term to use in that the way I, use it. But and easily misunderstood. Moreness, very easy to understand, probably misunderstood. Now, again, we're going to start reading about this Don Juan and and Carlos with the plant. And it's all technical and detailed stuff. But listen to the person. Right? We are reading to get to know Don Juan, especially, and to some extent Carlos. Right? We're going to do capital or reading capital H, hearing of Don Juan, which is looking at inference, implication, moreness, looking at levels. Right? When you put things into context, you extrapolate and you say, wow, you can glean an incredible amount of information. Amazing what you can learn. Right? Right, so we are here today, Sunday, 21 April 1963. On Tuesday afternoon, 16 April, Don Juan and I went to the hills where his deterrent plants are. Ah, not were. Interesting. He asked me to leave him alone there and wait for him in the car. He returned nearly 3 hours later carrying a package wrapped in red cloth. Now again, right? Don Juan asked him, didn't tell him to leave him alone there, and he went to his own path. I'm just illustrating some um, inference, right? Implication. The implication and the inference here is that this is important, that Don Juan does this on his own. Okay? And it's like a duh, right? We do it automatically. We do inference, but it's important. It's important. Thank you, Beena. Yeah, very cool, very cool. So it's wonderful when we read with inference and implication. Become a wizard at implication. Become a wizard at inference. It will change your life. When you start looking at the implications of everything, you suddenly expand your world. And this is moreness once more. Right? You see the moreness of everything. Right? It's very cool. Now, in this case, it's very simple, but as we see later, it's going to come. As we started to drive back to his house, he pointed to the bundle and said it was his last gift for me. I asked if he meant he was going to teach, if he was not going to teach me anymore. He explained that he was referring to the fact that I had a plant fully mature and would no longer need his plants. Late in the afternoon, we sat in his room. That's quite unusual, right? Almost always, again, see, paying attention. If you remember from before, they always sat outside on the Ramada, right? That's it. Under this like a little shade thing, and there's wooden, that's it. Always they sit outside, and even mentioned that they've been in the room. He's the last time they were in the room. He said, "I very rarely went in here." Right now they're back in the room. Okay, that's unusual. He brought out a smoothly finished mortar and pestle. The bowl of the mortar was about 6 inches in diameter. He untied a large package full of small bundles, selected two of them, and placed them on a straw mat by my side. Then he added four more bundles of the same size to the pack he had carried home. He said they were seeds, and I had to grind them into a fine powder. He opened the first bundle and poured some of its contents into the mortar. The seeds were dried, brown, and caramel yellow in color. Now, if we just from this paragraph, if we apply inference, for me at least, I get the sense that Don Juan is careful and precise. Yes, Beena, you too? Beena's
Yes.
typing. Beena says,
Yes.
hello and welcome to Moreness-Culture. Yes, Moreness. I've got to maybe change my pronunciation for grain to Moreness. Moreness-Culture, right? Moreness. Moreness. Okay. I don't know how to say it for you, grain, but Moreness-Culture. Very important, right? Always is Moreness-Culture. And you get this
Yes.
idea also from this from Don, the way Carlos is writing it. It's not intentional, I don't think. It's not deliberate, but we clearly get the sense of Don Juan's not only his precision, his exactness, his carefulness, but there's a discipline to it, right? He knows exactly what he's doing, and he's very precise in what he does, right? And this is a wonderful quality about Don Juan because he's not going to do something if he doesn't know what he's doing. And when he's learning something, he's going to make that effort to know what he is about, right? To not just halfway learn. Right? You can't halfway learn things. That's a mess. So you've got to persist. Now, I want to just make a sidetrack here because it was on my mind and it somewhat came up while I was doing the interview this morning, with celebrity interviewer Syl on the podcast there. We actually didn't end up talking about Way-Of-Impeccability and learning and all this, but we ended up talking about narcissists and BS bullshit. I had to say, no, I can't say BS, I have to say the full word. So I do it out of reference to Beena because Beena doesn't swear. It's quite a wonderful, beautiful thing. So so I try not to with Beena. And it's good practice. It's a good awareness, attention practice. Not that Beena minds when I do. It's just that she does. She's not saying I must. It's just something she does, right? And it's a beautiful moreness to it. At any rate, so we spoke about that. But I wanted to say about. Hmm, I lost what I was going to talk about. A point I wanted to make. What was I saying? I wanted to talk about, Beena?
About the
What?
modus code, but like we all are. I don't
No,
know
no.
the point.
The,
About
say
Don
again?
Juan, you were saying, okay, he's disciplined. He's not
It's not what?
only just like cautious, he's disciplined.
Ah, yes, but no, to something else. It'll come back to me. Never mind. Um,
I can't hear you, sir.
no,
Okay,
oh,
you were
I'm here.
saying that
I'm here.
he is disciplined.
Yes, correct. But that's not the point I wanted to make. It was kind of a, oh. See, it comes back. I wanted to make a quick aside It's about learning and making mistakes. The culture that we in, particularly American culture, I'm talking about now, but American culture through TV, because of Hollywood, it kind of spreads through, TV and movies. A lot of American culture gets spread all around the world. In American culture, making mistakes is a great big no-no, right? I mean, you see on like sitcoms and on TV shows, and especially with teenagers. Oh, I knew that. Whenever they say that, well, actually, you're saying you didn't know. That's why you're saying, oh, I knew that. Right? Because you didn't know it. But they cannot acknowledge that they didn't know. And even worse, never ever can you acknowledge that you made a mistake. How in the hell are you going to learn? That's what learning is. Learning is the constant discovery and awareness of previous mistakes, of where you didn't know, how you were wrong, how you were ignorant, how you were unaware. This is what learning is. That's why some people stop learning when they become adults, because they refuse to acknowledge that they might have been wrong, that they didn't know, that they were ignorant, foolish, silly, whatever. This is a perpetual state of being. Get used to it, people. It's not a negative, it's a positive. Whenever you discover you didn't know, you now know more than you knew before. Focus on the knowing more, not on the being. Who cares if you're wrong? That's just an ego issue. So what? I celebrate it. Why? Because if I know I've been wrong, I now know better. Celebrate being wrong. Right? Don't make it into this whole big negative end of the world thing. Oh my God. Right? Learning is all about appreciating, understanding, and knowing for sure that you were wrong. If you're not comfortable with being wrong, making mistakes, blunders, whatever you want to call them, if you're not comfortable with it, then you're never going to learn. Right? You have to seek it out. If you really want to really learn, that means you're going to realize that you didn't know. Right? That's what learning means. So if you don't want to learn, then cling to this idea that you have to always be right and you got to protect it, you can't look bad and whatever. That's rubbish.
There's a big problem, Syl, because the whole education system and also a whole brought up system we have in general, not in America only, in general, the whole American system. Okay, yes, because people are impressed with them, so they follow them. Okay, but I'm not blaming any country specifically, just in general. Our whole education system is goal and target oriented. Once you have the system, oh, because I'm going to learn till this,
Yeah,
and then I am
exactly.
learned. I am a learned
Exactly.
person. So now, how can
Exactly.
I just go and
Yeah,
negate all those efforts? Because it's a goal
exactly.
target oriented system, education system we have.
Exactly.
And that's a
Exactly.
big problem. Again, coming back to your point that people do really get really offended by that. Okay, oh, I was wrong. First thing that what I have learned so far in Way of Impeccability, it's not about being wrong. It was okay. I was not aware of this perspective. Okay, yes. So I now I have a new perspective on it. Okay, I'm more aware because there is nothing right and wrong in this thing. Because what I have experienced so far, that people, if you suggest something and if you bring a new perspective, if you share your own perspective, they kind of feel like threatened with that. That oh, it's a challenge of authority because we still have some conventional mindset in it. And that is a big, huge problem. Sorry, I can't continue. My throat is cracking again.
No problem, Peter. No problem. You take it easy. You take it easy. It's very important. You take it easy. This point that Beena makes is a very important point. This goal-oriented culture, and it's not just the goal of, well, I've got my degree, or I've now learned, I got my diploma, or now I've got this thing. No, it's even worse. There's a subtext, and the subtext is a superiority paradigm. It's all about being superior in some way, being better than others, climbing the ladder of hierarchy. Success means you get to the top. It's all about this hierarchy. It's all underlying it. So it's always relative to someone else. Relative to the universe, you're always going to be an nincompoop. So just get over yourself. It's a false thing that you're claiming to be relatively better. To be a slightly less of a nincompoop than everybody else, it's not much of an accomplishment. Still a nincompoop. Yeah? We're all nincompoops. We're perpetual nincompoops. Get used to it. Make peace with it. Celebrate it. Nincompoopry has its plus sides too. Yeah? So if we get a bit hung up on the superiority paradigm stuff, it's a bit sad. It's really sad, right? They kind of waste a lot as a result. It's a very deep pity. Very deep pity. Anyway, so let's go back to our reading. Actually, no, I forgot to screen share. I'll do so now. I just want to clear my memory. It's a little full. I just want to do it, and it's causing a bit of stuttering here. It's overloaded. Won't let me do it. All right. All right. So let's continue with this phrase now. I began to work with the pestle. This is Carlos saying, let me screen share. Let me screen share. My voice is a little bit raspy also today. I was excited in the high energy in the interview. Strained the voice a bit. I began working with the pestle, says Carlos. After a while, he corrected me, Don Juan. He told me to push the pestle against one side of the mortar first, and then slide it across the bottom and up against the other side. I asked what he was going to do with the powder. He did not want to talk about it. Remember our theme for the day? Energy management. For Don Juan, intent is a crucial part of energy. Everything relates around intent. This action isn't just grinding, it is about applying appropriate energy to the task. You imbuing the pace that is creating, imbuing it with your energy. If you're talking about other stuff, you're distracted. You're not, your intent, your energy is not on the task. Yeah? That's why I just want to talk while doing this. Energy management. Yes. Norman says, we'll catch up later. Recording though. Yes, it is recorded. It will be there to be not only here, but of course I because it's live, it goes directly to YouTube also, and then I also add the summary and the key points, and I update the YouTube. So yeah, if you can always find it here in group because I save it into the guides tab, or you can find it under featured, or just scroll down in the timeline. You can always find these there, right? But in the guides tab, it's very easy to find there. Like all of these are in the Way-Of-Impeccability glimpses tab in guides, right? And then of course you find it on YouTube, no problem. Yeah. So no problem, Norma, no problem. That's wonderful. I know you
Yes.
always do, and it's wonderful. It was great having you. Maybe we'll see you again later on. Maybe we'll see you again later on. I hear somebody messaging me, but I can't look now, wherever you are. But again, right? Look at the simple thing. We doing a capital or reading, which means we are applying capital H hearing. And in other words, it's depth analysis, discernment, looking at extra context, looking from multiple perspectives, being thorough, inferring, implying, looking at implications, extrapolating, etc. And this point here now, right? And also applying our own moreness to what we do, right? And in this case here now, there's a moreness of my understanding of energy and energy management. And when we look at the simple thing that where Carlos is working, I mean, it may mean nothing. It may just be that Don Juan's not in the mood for talking, right? No, it's actually, there's a logic to it. There's a sensibility to it. There's a sobriety to it that Don Juan wants Carlos to manage his energy and have his intent be appropriately focused on the task. Carlos doesn't understand this yet, right? Now, he may have elaborated on talking about that, as we'll see in books 2 and 3. When Carlos goes over his notes, he realizes, oh my goodness, I missed the forest for the trees. Right? He saw this one big tree in the forest and thought that was the forest. No, it's not. In this case, 3 big trees. Right? No, it's not. Anyway, um, he did not want to talk about it. The first batch of seeds was extremely hard to grind. It took me 4 hours to finish the job. My back ached because of the position in which I was sitting. I lay down and wanted to go to sleep right there. But Don Juan opened the next bag and poured some of the contents into the mortar. The seeds this time were slightly darker than the first ones and were lumped together. The rest of the bag's contents was a sort of powder made of very small, round, dark granules. Again, Carlos is exhausted, he's tired. But Don Juan opens another bag, the next bag, right? And pours and obviously to him to continue. Think of
Mm.
this from an energy point of view. Think of it from an intent point of view. To Don Juan, the datura plant, right? Not each individual plant, but the datura plant in the abstract point of view is an energetic entity. An energetic entity. An entity comprised of energy, in other words, right? As we all are, really. Yes, we animate the body, but the us, the part that's us, is energy, right? And we have a body that we animate. But in terms of, we can say, yes, we're physical because we don't have the ability to go elsewhere, at least not that we know how. We might, but we don't know how to do it. But with the plant, that energy is across all plants, yes? And it may be confined to regions, we don't know, but it doesn't matter. Right? It's not confined in a specific single plant. You can connect to that greater energetic entity via your particular plant. But this is like your internet connection. Yeah, same thing. See, it's diffused. But when we understand that the datura plant with Don Juan is an energetic entity, and he relates this entity as its own personality, its own whims, its own quirks, right, and its own style, etc. Right, much like people. Now, why does he make Carlos? He doesn't make him, but by implication, he's tired. No, got to do more. Right? He doesn't say it. He just, again, he uses inference and implication by pouring it into the bowl. Carry on. Why? Because it's like a test. He said, well, why do you always need to be tested? Energetic entities of this nature want to be assured that your intent is true and pure. If you're going to give up after a bit of a backache, yeah, a bit of tired, how serious are you really? This is a common theme in the universe. How serious are you really? Pay attention. Pay attention to this, right? We get tested so often to know that we are actually serious. Christopher Abbott says he's listening. That is most wonderful. Christopher Abbott, thank you for your comment. It really helps us. Yes, we like sharing. We're not doing this for followers on this. We like sharing. And when somebody is listening and they say they're listening or they just say hi, now I know you there, right? And it adds to me to know that you are listening. It adds to me. It really enhances me. It gives an extra energy. It's powerful. It's very powerful. So thank you very much for saying so. So I always love Norma, but always say something. Of course, Norma asks questions,
Yes,
comments, and
hello
all
and
this stuff.
welcome,
So
Christopher.
yes, wonderful, wonderful. I don't know why I just like saying Christopher Abbott. We use
Oh,
both
yes,
names.
Christopher
Like,
Abbott. It's a
like,
beautiful name.
like yeah,
Okay, I like
yeah.
this
Like
name.
sometimes you see other cultures, they always use the people's full names, right?
Oh, yes,
I don't know.
yes.
For some people, it just seems to be so. Christopher Abbott, you Christopher Abbott to be. Yeah, I don't know why. Who knows? But anyway, so to get back to this point about intent, yes, because intent is a very serious business. Intent is different to will. Will is the localized application of focused energy for you to get what you want. Localized. You're in charge. Your will is you doing stuff, right? But when you have an intent, you are also engaging the universe in order to assist you in the acquisition of your goal, your desire, your objective. This is a serious business. You're asking the world to rearrange itself to some extent to accommodate you. Yeah? And that has serious consequences. When you rearrange the world, ask any game developer or any game player, right? Whenever there's an update in the game, what happens? Somebody finds an exploit somewhere, right? They find some loophole to do stuff, right? It's just part of gaming culture now, right? And of course, in the beginning, boy, there were some fantastic exploits, right? Like one time they did an update and people were able to access the bank. This was in World of Warcraft. And people just went and took out gold and they were all wealthy and it wasn't technically legal, but they were, well, you created this. And so now, after many examples of this, now they said, look, if there's something and it's an exploit, it's not, you can't do it, then you get into trouble, right? So this is very key. Christopher Abbott says smiley face. Yeah. So this unintended consequences is very key. When the developers in games, when they do an update, they're changing the game in some way, right? And that is equivalent to an intent, right? Because that when they change the programming, they're changing one simple thing, whatever they're changing, but because everything is connected, there are these unintended consequences, right? And something happens somewhere else. Same thing with your intent. When you're doing this, it's like you, the game developer, and you are changing, but they don't always know. Well, they never know what those unintended consequences are going to be. They hope the changes they make will only be to the thing that they are trying to change and not have some unintended consequences, but they can't be sure, right? So they kind of built this in to say, look, if there's an unintended consequence, you can't exploit it and you're going to get into trouble, right? But in the universe, we don't know, and we don't have that power to stop it or prevent it. So we have to be really serious about our intent. And to say, my intent is important. It's not frivolous. It's not childish. It's not something I'm just going to do on a whim and cause this change in the universe and potentially cause unintended consequences, which might not always be that positive. But okay, if I'm really serious about my intent, well, okay, well, so be it. I'm sorry I didn't want it to happen, but if it happens, well, okay, I'm prepared to live with that. I'll take responsibility for it. So be it, right? It's a price I'm willing to pay. Yeah. So this having clarity of intent. That's why I emphasize this term, clarity of intent. And in my program, Way-Of-Impeccability, this is the start. It is module 1, session 1, clarity of intent. Don't do things randomly. Plus, when you set an intent, you have to really know. I mean, I have an article about step-by-step for setting an intent, right? It's a serious business. So this is really key. And when it comes to this interaction with this energetic entity, which is the material plant, this is a serious entity. This is about power. Yes? And you really need to know your stuff, because if you're not serious about this and you're not careful, you're going to get killed. Simple as that. So Don Juan wants to make sure that in the preparation of these ingredients, the energy that Carlos is putting into the paste, into the preparation, into the mixture, whatever, it's about energy. That the energy is appropriate. Yes, and in this case, that he is serious about this. He's willing to make that extra effort. It's not just he's doing it all for nothing, right? And this testing to see if you're serious, intent is serious. This really, really is an important thing in the universe. You'll see it all the time in life. If you start paying attention, you'll see it repeated, right? Very, very key. Don't have frivolous intents. I see people have intents and set them, and it causes trouble in their lives later on, and then I don't know why. Yeah. Okay, very important. Right. I wanted something to eat, but Don Juan said that if I wish to learn, I have to follow the rule. And the rule was that I could only drink a little water while learning the secrets of the second portion. Now, this thing with rules like this, it's quite fascinating because how did these rules come about? Yeah, it's a powerful question. We will see later how. Yeah? But right now, we don't know, right? I'm getting a lot of messages. Anything I need to pay attention to, Beena?
Not right now. It is
Okay.
not something.
Okay. All right. All right. I'll come back to you if you're listening, somebody. But yeah, otherwise, ask the question in comments. Yeah.
Yes, it's
All
not a
right. So
problem.
this point about rules, we say, yeah, but Don Juan, like, how do you know these rules? Where did you get them from? And we sort of assume that Don Juan got it from his benefactors. Yes, some of them he did, but that's not really where they come from. And we'll see later where they come from. Very, very important. Again,
I
energy
think it
management.
is they're coming from intuition. And
It's a good guess, Beena. It's a good guess, but It's sort of kind of accurate, but not. Intuition is a very poor word for where they do come from. We'll see it later. I don't want to
Um,
open that door just yet. Yeah.
okay, okay,
So it's a kind of related to intuition, but it's intuition that isn't so vague and nebulous and kind of
hmm,
intuition is a bit hit and miss, right? This is precise, right? We'll see later on. There's very specificness to it, right?
okay.
And it's a very powerful topic. It's coming later on. Again, if I bring it in now, it's going to mess things up. But know this, that it's not coming from random, and it's not just somebody made it up. Right? A lot of rules that we have, somebody somewhere along the line said, "Oh, okay, I think this will be a good idea." And actually, if you watch bureaucrats in action, you're going to go, "Oh my, so it's no wonder we have such a lot of rubbish in our lives, right?" They just kind of suck it out of their thumbs, the rules sometimes. They don't have a clue. And they make up the most absurd, preposterous stuff because they really don't know. So a lot of our rules come from just random, really. The third bag contained a handful of live black grain weevils. Wow. And the last bag, and in the last bag were some fresh white seeds, almost mushy soft, but fibrous and difficult to grind into a fine paste, as he expected me to do. After I had finished grinding the contents of the 4 bags, Don Juan measured 2 cups of a greenish water. See what I mean by steps that we don't know? Many steps. A greenish water. What on earth is this greenish water? It doesn't say what it is. Obviously, there's something particular in that. You don't know what it is. Right? And with this kind of a thing, you miss one critical ingredient, the whole thing is no good. Right? So you cannot follow these steps. You cannot. Yeah. And if you do, you're going to get really ill or die. Right? Just know this. Be aware. Right. I mean, you can find somebody maybe, but still, right? Can't do it from this. Don Juan measured 2 cups of greenish water, poured it into a clay pot, and put the pot on the fire. When the water was boiling, he added the first batch of powdered seeds. He stirred it with a long, pointed piece of wood or bone, which he carried in his leather pouch. As soon as the water boiled again, he added the other substances one by one, following the same procedure. Then he added one more cup of the same water and let the mixture simmer over a low fire. Then he told me it was time to mash the root. Carefully extracted a long piece of the Tura root from the bundle he had carried home. The root was about 16 inches long. It was thick, perhaps an inch and a half in diameter. Wow, it's quite substantial, right? He said it was the second portion, and again he had measured the second portion himself because it was still his root. He said the next time I tried the devil's wheel, I would have to measure my own. He pushed the big mortar towards me, and I proceeded to pound the root in exactly the same way he had mashed the first portion. He directed me through the same steps, and again we left the mashed root soaking in water, exposed to the night air. By the time the boiling mixture had solidified in the clay pot, Don Juan took the pot from the fire, placed it inside a hanging net, and hooked it to a beam in the middle of the room. About 8 o'clock in the morning of 17 April, Don Juan and I began to reach the root extract with water. It was a clear, sunny day, and Don Juan interpreted fine weather as an omen that the devil's weed liked me. He said that he said that with me around, he could remember only how bad she had been with him. Interesting, right? And this point of omens, it's quite a fascinating study because there's a hidden language for Don Juan that we are not privy to when it comes to how he interprets omens. He never explains this, right? Much to my frustration, but also much to my benefit. Because I understood the importance of it as he says it later on. And I could not replicate his system, so I had to construct and create my own, which is attunement, right? And anomalies, right? A much different system, right? And it's very, 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 very effective and incredibly useful. Incredibly useful. Right? Attunement and everything, the whole it's a culture really almost. It's an understanding, it's a way of living, it's a way of being. It's a way of interacting. It's energy management at its pinnacle, at its extreme, at its most wonderfulness. So yeah, yeah. Again, yes, ravens deliver omens. So Christopher Abbott, the problem with omens is that omens are kind of by definition a predetermined explanation for things. Yes. But if you don't know that predeterminedness, you have no idea what the omens mean. And when we actually start to examine this, right, get into it really detailed, you'll see that the omens have so much individual interpretation to them. When you actually observe people, and I studied this omens thing for ages, right? You'll see that the exact same thing happens, and the next day they're in Sonora. How often is it a sunny, clear day in Sonora? I live in, well, I guess, the northern edges of the Sonora Desert. Well, I can tell you from living here, pretty much most of the time it's a clear sunny day, but it doesn't have significance on the other days. See what I mean? Only sometimes. I mean, ravens or crows, they, 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 they're around, they call all the time. Is every single time when they call or do something, is that an omen? You see, yes, they deliver omens, but not everything they do is necessarily an omen. And that's my point. The omen side, when you know it's an omen, it is interpretive, it's contextual. And so I said, well, let's take this a little bit further, let's figure this out. And that's how I got to anomalies. And anomalies, I don't want to get into it now because it's a long explanation and it will come up later, come up more. But yes, the omens is very problematic from a usage point of view, like I said, and especially when you start saying, yeah, but what does it mean? Those meanings, they vary, they change, they context specific when you really study them. The people using it don't think so. To them, it makes total sense. Like in this case, it's a good omen to Don Juan. He has many reasons why he's saying that. It's not just because it's a clear day. It's a clear day in conjunction with the overall context, right? See? So it's not the omen itself doesn't tell you specifically. It is the entire context which creates the meaning, yeah? Not the thing itself, but by implication and the way our brain works, the way we use language, we assume that the omen always is exactly, and it's not so. Right? And again, it's very hard to use omens in the way it's presented usually, right? I mean, people think so, and they think they're using it, but they don't pay attention to when they don't use it. Like I guess on those sunny days, clear sunny days, where it doesn't mean anything. Yeah? So why aren't all sunny days an omen? Just this one. See, when you start thinking that way, the whole thing with omens breaks down very quickly, right? But again, we can go further in this, and we'll get into it later on. We'll get into attunement and anomalies rather than omens, and we'll get something that's very, very usable as opposed to omens, which yes, they have use for the people using it, but boy, it's very difficult if to learn it from the outside, especially if you have a bit of a scientifically focused mind and you're looking at more and you're looking at, everything, you're looking at the greater context, then you start to see, well, there's problems here, a lot of problems, right? Okay, let's continue. We return to the room. We return to his room again, right? This is important, right? Because Carlos said earlier, we have to keep some facts in mind. When you say we return to his room, if out of context here, well, okay, he went to his room, so what? Big deal. But no, this was a rare occurrence, signifying that the activity is very important. Yeah? Don Juan didn't allow Carlos into his room. Carlos said so earlier, right? Because he was only there very few, very seldom. He returned to his room, where there were still two little sacks he had not touched. He opened one, slid his hand inside, and wrinkled the open end around his wrist with the other hand. He seemed to be holding something, judging by the way his hand moved inside the bag. And I think we're going to leave it here today, right? Because now we are going to start. I know what's coming, and I don't want to maybe people read up there a little bit. I know what's coming, and it's quite fascinating and interesting, but it's like a whole new section. So I don't want to come to this. So we'll just leave it right here where he puts his hand into this last bag now, right? And we'll see that. We'll see what what's going on there, right? Quite fascinating stuff, right? Something very different. So we leave it right here and we'll continue tomorrow. So thank you, Christopher Abbott, for joining us. I love this, man. And comment, ask questions, comment. Please share. We love sharing. We love sharing. We love to hear from you. Like your ravens, yes. Ravens and crows are very different birds. Very, very different. Beena had a most magical anomaly about the crow, and she talked about it. I think the last time we were here, or the previous time, or
Yes,
two, two,
yes.
two or three times, right? So very, very important, very important. Yeah.
Yes, we don't have rain anymore.
Oh, wow, what happened to Gray? Oh,
Yes.
okay. Oh, all right. Anyway, it's a good time to end because, like I said, it's a
Oh,
whole
yes.
new section, and I want to start that. And the timing is good too, so everything is brilliant.
Yes.
So Christopher
Yes.
says, like this, I think, yeah.
Thank you so much,
Right.
Christopher Abbott. Yes. And thank you so much, Norma, for joining us. We miss you, Joseph, today. I know that, okay, we were not being consistent and you might be waiting, but we will try to be as consistent as possible. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you, everyone who are going to watch us recorded here on YouTube. And please, if you want to see the previous ones, yeah, you can also join Sassy Group. And in the guide tab, you can find all those things and a lot more than that. Anyway, please, if you like something, if you find some value in this live session, please do click like and subscribe to the channel, because by doing so, you are going to train your algorithm that this is the value you want in your life. This is the moreness you want in your life. And of course, ultimately, your online algorithm is going to impact on your life algorithm. And this is most important. Please do pay attention if you are on the path of learning and growing, as it never ends. This is something, it's a very false idea being instilled in our minds by this target-oriented, specific target-oriented or goal-oriented educational system we have, and a product also, that, oh, if you will do this and you will achieve this. After that, you're nothing. You're going to be just stop there. And this is the problem, because the most horrible mistake in the language, I feel that there should be no past tense for learning. No,
Correct.
it has to be always present continuous. It's almost criminal. Please, we need to remove this from. Yes.
Wonderful point, Peter. Wonderful point.
Yes.
Learning needs to be present continuous.
Yes. And
And
we
and
need to
and
change our.
enjoy learning. Learning is not onerous.
Absolutely.
Learning is a
Absolutely.
joy, it's a boon, it's a moreness. Enjoy
Absolutely.
learning. If you
Thank you
don't
so much,
enjoy
Rain.
learning, the life can be
Yes.
hard. Yes,
Oh
yes. Thank
yes. Oh
you.
yes.
Thank you, everything.
Thank you, Grain. Thank you, everyone. And we
Yeah,
hopefully we'll see you guys tomorrow, same time.
yeah. Yes.
Bye
Bye
for
bye,
now.
everybody. Bye bye, bye bye. And wishing you all good mornings.
Oh yes. Good morning.
And meeting and meeting.